The market's down right now. The market's down. If there was a 50% discount on real estate in Manhattan, would you buy? If there is a 50% discount on Nvidia or Amazon, on Tesla or Rolls Royce, would you buy? Am I going to hold this long term? Is it an asset? Because crypto is an asset, real estate's an asset, gold is an asset.
So welcome to another episode of Our Wealth Channel. And my guest today is Corey Williams, aka Crypto Corey. Corey is one of the experts nationally and even globally for cryptocurrency, what has made him successful, and what to look out for in today's economy. But before we get to all that, we want to talk about who he is and what got him started and his origins. So welcome, Corey.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
So, Corey, what's the latest for today?
The market's down right now. The market's down, in which I always tell people, you don't necessarily want to buy at the top. So right now the market is down. I believe like it's a sale. If there was a 50% discount on real estate in Manhattan, would you buy? If there is a 50% discount on Nvidia or Amazon, on Tesla or a Rolls Royce, would you buy? Well, right now, everything's on sale, but it's a great time to position yourself because it won't stay where it's at right now.
I don't even remember Kmart. So a lot of their boots and stuff like that, their brand was Deckard, right? That was the brand that they would push. Well, I think it was like at $232 I bought it, and it dropped to like $171, and I was getting cold feet and whatnot. I looked it up 10 years later. It was at $130. So had I kept it in there, right? And I'm not saying that cryptocurrency, the longevity of it would be the same, but at least for the time being, I mean, if you want to sell, don't sell it when the price goes down. Give it a week. Next week, it might be double what it was where you bought it, and you sell at that point and profit.
Most people never make money in cryptocurrency for a few reasons.
Okay.
Number one, they buy too late, and number two, they sell too early. So when you're buying at its top, that's the worst time to get in. And when you sell when it's on sale, that's the worst time to sell. So there's something called FOMO, fear of missing out. And the news is going to say, hey, crypto is tanking. Every 4 years, that's a different person who is the creator of crypto. So this year, it's Epstein. A couple years ago, it was John Guy. 10 years from now, it'll be Crypto Corey. So there are certain people who put out news which puts you in a situation to think, am I going to hold this long term? Is it an asset? Because crypto is an asset, real estate's an asset, gold is an asset, stocks are an asset, insurance, anything that is an asset is not going to just always keep going up. There's a time when I tell people when something's on sale, that's when you should buy. And if you're a long-term investor, you never can go wrong in a stock. You hold a stock for 10 years, because certain companies can crash and certain crypto projects can crash. But when I talk about cryptocurrency, I'm talking about, I would say the big four, the big five, which is, Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, it's Solana, it's XRP. My next one right now, which has a narrative, would be privacy coin. So that's, a Monero or another utility coin like Hyperliquid. Certain projects are going to be there and they're going to be there. So you hold for 5-10 years. I always say if you want generational money, you have to hold it for a generation. So if you want generational money, what's a generation? 10 years, 15, 20 years, that's when you need to hold. And if you hold for that length of time, you're almost certain cannot go wrong.
Okay. So you've been talking about cryptocurrency globally, right? All right. So we want to know, where did it all start, right? So let's go back in time. Crypto Corey Williams, as a kid, give us your background.
Background come from very, very humble beginnings. Born and raised here in Houston, Texas, Fifth Ward area, North Side. I wouldn't say I was born in poverty, but we just didn't have a lot. Mm-hmm. But back then, you could buy a home on one income, but now a normal blue collar wage income. But now these days, you have to have 6 times the amount to really buy a home. So my mother never made over $40,000. My grandmother never made over $40,000. My great grandmother never made over $40,000. And usually when you're born into circumstances like that, you'll never make over 40,000. But I never forget, my mom had a car wreck, and she was born with scoliosis. So she had a car wreck and had to have a back surgery. And so I had to get 3 jobs in high school.
3 jobs.
3 jobs. Actually it was more than that. I was a lifeguard. That was seasonal. I worked at Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
I worked at a catering company, 2 places with food, because at that point my brother was in college and we were eating breakfast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Gotcha.
So I wanted something different. Then I was throwing parties, and then I worked at Tinseltown. So
the movie theater.
The movie theater.
Yep.
Yep. So that was kind of the high school when I just really got into that grind mode. But before then, single parent household. Dad was around, but he was around. He wasn't really active. Raised in the church. So that was my motivation. My mom was and still is a big believer. So just raised in the church, and really, it was either, from where I'm from, you're gonna, sell drugs or participate in drugs or alcoholism, or you're gonna play sports. So those were kind of your 2 routes. You really didn't see entrepreneurs. You really didn't see successful people. There's very few people from where I'm from. I can name them off the top of my head, a couple. Rodney Hampton, he had A Better Bail Bonds, which is a bail bonds company here in Houston. A lot of people from the hood getting in trouble. You need a bondsman.
Bam.
James Prince, Jay Prince. He started a record label, Rap-A-Lot Records. Then he got into boxing. He got into boxing promoting. And so very few people that looked like me that were successful, but we had a church probably on every corner. So seeing the pastor, seeing, the well-spoken men that had the briefcases, that had the family, that had, nice cars, it was, you only had a few options that you were exposed to become successful. So on the church side, I never forget, my pastor was a part of Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship. He was associated with Bishop Paul Morton. And so Bishop Paul Morton is kind of one of the pioneers of the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship. And so he put on T.D. Jakes. I remember meeting T.D. Jakes.
Wait. What you mean he put on T.D. Jakes?
Well, I put it like this. T.D. Jakes was in a storefront church in West Virginia.
Right.
Bishop Morton is one of the first in the South mega church pastors who had 3 locations out of New Orleans. Greater St. Stephen's. So
okay.
Out of New Orleans. So he had an uptown location, an east, and a West Bank location, 3 locations. This is he had some a conference called the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship Conference in New Orleans, which you had 20 to 50,000 people there. T.D. Jakes was still at a storefront church in West Virginia. When I say put on a major platform.
And what year was this?
This had to be 92.
Okay.
1992. Then also you had Eddie Long, which was a
out of Georgia,
out of Atlanta, Georgia.
So he got put on by this pastor too?
And when I say put on a major platform. Now, they was preaching people's socks and wigs off.
Yeah.
At that time.
Yep.
But that platform, then you had Bishop Carlton Pearson, which a part of
he's the one that he rejected a certain part of Christianity at a certain point.
Right. And they kind of kicked him out of.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then also Clarence McClendon, Noel Jones.
Noel Jones from Cali.
Yeah, right. Yep. So Noel Jones, out of California. He might be from Detroit. I'm not sure where he's from.
Okay, gotcha.
But definitely had a church.
Jones' brother.
Exactly.
Yep, gotcha.
Exactly. Okay, you know something about church. So just seeing all these people, man, that really inspired me because they were well-spoken. They had a following. You saw they were businessmen. You saw they had some nice cars, some custom clothes. And so that was kind of one of the motivating things for me.
So you looking at them. How old were you at this point?
I was 7, 8 years old,
so
eating real good. That was more in high school because it was just like my mom was paying for my brother's college, private college at Xavier, which is $20,000 a year, making $40,000, maybe 45, 50. So it was like, I needed and wanted some kind of change. So having that church foundation and seeing not only were they eating, but they were businessmen too. You only have so many people that, and we can get into this. You can only have so many people that are giving tithes and offerings in church, and you're in a neighborhood of poverty. How are you keeping the lights on and things of that nature? Yeah, so you have to realize, only so many people are giving to the church for tithes and offering. And so, my pastor was in college. He got a master's. He was doing network marketing. He had other businesses on the side. And I was, pretty close to my pastor, Bishop Larry Leonard. I was a part of the audiovisual ministry, and just, growing up in a small church, and we were growing. And so I saw that he had other businesses on the side to provide for him and his family, and also to sustain and keep the church going. So that was motivating to me to see that at that point.
So what were you thinking at that time? You're seeing this, they're living good, right? They sound good. It seems like they're uplifting the people. They know how to speak. They carry themselves a certain way. They're men. You're growing into a man, right? So what was that saying to you? Like, what were you thinking at the time?
For me, you want the nice car. You want the nice home.
Mm-hmm.
These pastors that I saw, they had the nice car, had the nice home, had the family, had the eloquent speech, had the custom suits. That was very, very motivating, because you see the drug dealers, you see the alcoholics, you see the gangsters, all of them are going to jail, and these people got freedom and some money and some fame, and they're traveling around the world, and they're helping people, on a spiritual side, on a mental side, on helping people gain even financial literacy. So it was like, you got two options. You can go be a gangster and be hard and go to jail, or you can, learn about and teach about the Lord.
So you mentioned something about having a following. So what did that mean to you at the time, if it meant anything?
Having a following where, like the famous TV show Cheers, when you go where everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
So we would go to Golden Corral back in the day, or Piccadilly, or go to the mall. Oh, hey, this the bishop. He's a good pastor. He gave a good word. Some pastors would preach more than one service. Oh, I'm over here, then I'm a guest at this church, and I'm gonna have an evening service. Then you get on TV. You were doing something at that time if you were on TBN. Then
TBN, yeah.
So then you're speaking at big conferences where you have, the Bishop Jakes and the Noel Jones and the Carlton Pearsons, the Eddie Longs, the Bishop Paul Mortons, the Miles Monroe, and you see that they have mega churches in their and growing churches in their regions of the country or the world. And it's growing. I never forget when TD Jakes moved to Dallas. You go from a storefront church until a decent sized church, until a mega church where you got tens of thousands of members, to a pioneer in the Dallas area and worldwide. And then he started doing movies and plays, and so it's like seeing that growth. It was motivating.
Okay, so what age was this?
I grew up in the church from the day I was born.
No, but
what age up to be able to?
Were you rationalizing this?
I would say middle school, high school.
Okay. And then, all right, so let's move into high school or leaving high school, right? What were you doing at that point? And did that influence your outlook? Watching these preachers, speaking eloquently, walking a certain way, talking a certain way, driving nice cars. Obviously, the money was coming in based on the work that they were putting in, right? And the influence that they had.
So it was one more thing, being an athlete. Mm-hmm. And so I'm 5'8", at that time, maybe 150, 160 soaking wet. I feel like I'm pretty fast. I'm pretty strong. But then going to these, combines, you're seeing people like a good friend of mine, Carl Crawford. He's jumping out the gym. He goes straight from high school to Major League Baseball, plays for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Okay.
You see people like Rashard Lewis come straight out of high school, goes to the Seattle Supersonics. So it's like, okay, I think I'm good, but there's levels to this.
Oh, yeah.
It's levels to this. So sports, scratch that. It's not happening. So then in college, in high school, let's go back. So in high school, I was class president for 2 years. My brother told me, get involved, do community service, be involved in different organizations, fill out applications, like be a leader. So that can get you scholarships. And so I did that in high school. Not only was I working, but I was involved in student council, the STEP team, HOSA, which is Health Occupation Students of America, FHA, Future Homemakers of America. HOSA and FHA probably was because there was a lot of women in there. I was doing community service, just whatever I could do to stay busy, because then I had friends in the hood. Then from Fifth Ward, we had moved to Acres Home. I had friends in the hood that was getting in trouble, that was doing crazy things, that was starting to have sex, that was starting to smoke and do drugs and sell drugs. And I'm like, then I had friends who were becoming rappers. I went to high school with Slim Thug.
Oh, okay.
Mike Jones, Paul Wall, some of these guys from the North Side, who started forming a rap group being a part of a rap label called Swisher House. So I'm like, I can't rap. You start to find your way, and what are you good at? I'm good. At that time, I was good at speaking. My mom always said I had to give a gab. My last semester in high school, I had to take an arts credit, and so I took theater. And we did Miss Average Boys. We went to state in theater, and then graduating high school, I'm like, okay, well, what do I want to do? What college do I want to go to? I knew I wanted to go to college because my brother went to Xavier. And I'm seeing all the girls, at Xavier. I'm seeing that they're having fun. I'm seeing that they got some freedom. So, I'm like, okay, well, let me go the route of being in theater. And so theater was going well. I had an agency here, Page Parks Agency, and Neil Hamill, which was an acting model agency. I started making some pretty decent money while I was in college. Around that time, I was making probably about $30,000 to $40,000 a year doing commercials or doing plays, things of that nature. And so acting was kind of one of the routes that I went. I did a study abroad in London. I started directing some plays. I was in some commercials, some movies, things of that nature. Okay. And so acting was going cool. But my family was like, you need to do something.
How you gonna make money?
Because they didn't understand that you could really make money acting. I auditioned for Barbershop 2. I actually got cast in a role. Okay. Barbershop 2, one of Spike Lee. He had a movie. It was like it was like a military movie. And my mom was like, don't drop out of school. I had to go film for 2 or 3 months. My mom was like, don't drop out of school because you're not gonna go back. So I'm like, well, I gotta make some money because you're telling me don't be an actor. See, that was one mistake I made, allowing somebody who I wouldn't want to replace bank accounts with steal my dreams.
Right.
My family was like, don't be an actor, but then, go do this. And I'm like, well, y'all don't even got it. So let me be the black sheep. I'm going to go into sales, commission only. And so I started getting into sales. I never forget, there was a posting at U of H said make $25 an hour in sales. I'm like, okay, $25. I'm 19, 20 years old. That's some decent money.
Let's go with it.
I got in sales. But it was commission only. So I was selling office supplies with a company named Quill. They were a subsidiary of Staples. And then I started, after that, I started selling merchant services. Okay. Credit card machines. So I was going door to door, business to business, walking.
Oh, I had a lot of those come through my door, man.
And y'all would try to kick me out. And I'm going to the office manager.
Entry, what is it? The lower barrier entry. Because sometimes to get some of the better services, like your business credit or your personal credit had to be high to be able to get, these rates and so on and so forth. But you guys probably had like 5 or 10, 15, 20 different
wholesale rates.
Yep.
Yeah, so the transaction fee, it usually was 25 cents at that time. We could lower it to maybe 15 cents or maybe 10 cents.
Gotcha.
I believe it was like 1.39%. We could lower it to like 1.25 or 1.8. 1.18 of every transaction. So going to the dry cleaners, going to the liquor stores, going to the mom and pop places. At this time, this is early 2000s. So a lot of people were just starting to use credit cards and debit cards as much as people were using credit cards. Yeah. So that was, we're door to door. So sales taught me to be able to, go in and look for closing signals. It taught me something we used to call C factor: smile, eye contact, enthusiasm. It taught me how to manage a territory. It taught me how to look for buying signals from people. I'm coming in, I'm looking at the office manager, but I'm looking at, they only got one rim of paper somewhere there. So it taught me a lot at that point. Then I got into network marketing, and that's when things really started to take off.
Okay, let's pause here 1 second. Okay, network marketing.
So got into network marketing. One of my first companies, I never forget, while I was out selling merchant services, a gentleman by the name of Emmanuel Bernstein. So he was a big time and still is an icon in the industry. He recruited me. He was like, man, I see you sharp. I see how you just, closed that deal in there. I want to introduce you to some like-minded people that look like you, that's making some, decent money. That I think you guys will have a lot of synergy. So I went to a meeting and everybody's clapping, everybody's excited, and they're showing checks and showing weekly checks in a room full of people that are black and brown people from all different walks of life, saying they made $10,000 in a week, $10,000 in a month, and I'm like, and they work for themselves, so they don't got to go clock in. I'm like, okay, this is something that I think I could do. So got into prepaid legal, didn't make a lot of money. I think I did it maybe a year or two. I probably made no more than maybe $3 to $5 grand a year, just extra. But think about it, an extra $500 a month could help the average person prevent foreclosure, bankruptcy, or repossession. So that extra $500, I was like, this is some extra money. And I'm spending maybe an hour a day, maybe a couple hours a week. So this was just some part-time money. But then I started to learn about, how to recruit, learn how to build a team, how to work with people from different walks of life, learn about leadership, learn about personal development. So that's when I started reading books like a Les Brown, a Jim Brown, a John Maxwell, a Zig Ziglar, and just learning about the mindset and sales and business psychology.
So what age is this right now?
This is probably about 21.
21. Okay.
21, 22 years old.
So at this point, you're getting active, trying to find your way out. You're trying different things. One, your goal is to make money immediately, right? But whether you know it or not, these things could add up to you having the skills and the know-how to kind of make it out.
The soft skills, which I call it, but I was already doing really, really well on the sales side. So with the company in Quill, when I was selling the office supplies, I make 6 figures commission doing that. So I went to merchant services. I was probably at almost maybe 150,000 a year, which was good money in my early 20s. So I never forget it. People thought I was rich or hit the lotto, or they probably didn't understand nothing I was doing. I bought an BMW M3. I started getting into the custom suits, and just being around people that are like-minded. I'll never forget one of my mentors. He said, you go get you like 10 custom shirts. You can mix those shirts with different suits. Go to the tailor, spend about $10, $20. If you get your suit from Express or Structure or Macy's or Goodwill, and you get that suit tailored, he said they're going to look at you different, and they're going to treat you different. He said, make sure your shoes are shine, make sure your nails are clean, your teeth is clean, your hair is brushed, your stuff is ironed. Spend $20 a week and take those shirts and that suit and get it to the dry cleaner. He was like, and people will look at you different. And things start changing at that point. So coming from the humble beginning, when I said my dad was around from 13 to probably 20, he was in prison. My grandfather, I met him one time. He was in prison for 38 years.
So is this your father's father? Okay.
Yeah. I come from a family of probably 5 generations of men that have gone to prison. So when I say raised in the hood, people can say, they see the 20-year overnight success now, but they don't know those sides of seeing uncles that were alcoholics, and my dad, he didn't go to prison for anything bad. He had child support. He started a security company. One day, some guys broke into a home. He had to take over somebody's shift that night because they called in. They called to the guard gate, this over on the southwest side, and say, hey, somebody's broken into an apartment. He goes and checks on it. Guys pull a gun on him. To save his life, he took the gun from him, luckily, shot one of them. He goes to prison for 6 years. A felon from child support in the possession of a gun, but it wasn't even his gun. He was just saving his life. He could have got killed that night. Wow. So not having that father figure around for those pivotal years was crucial.
How did you feel about him being incarcerated, maybe in your eyes, unjustly?
You know what? I just said that's the results of a black man in America not having the money to get a good lawyer, getting caught up in the system. And it happens all the time. I never forget that morning. I used to always watch Fox 26 News, and I saw it said a security guard shot someone, and he's now being arrested. I saw my dad on the news one morning before I was going to school. I'm like, oh yeah, this is wild. And I thought it would just get solved, but years later, hey, I didn't have the money to get a lawyer. I didn't have the money to post bond. And so, as a result, hey, he down there and he gone.
Got you. Okay. So at this point, you are working your network marketing. You got Quill going on, so you're doing sales, right? So where does that catapult you to?
So the Quill was the first sales job. Then I got into merchant services. So merchant services and network marketing, I started with a company, Prepaid Legal. Got under the leadership of Emmanuel Bernstein, met David Minitier, who's a legend, who's done tens of millions of dollars in network marketing since then. Leonard Wilson, Oats and Bugs was one that we got under the leadership, and YT was Silas King was our mentor. Then Holtz and Bugs was in Organo Gold.
And which one did you get into because of the girl?
No, that was in high school. Believe me, in network marketing, it was women around.
So I remember. So YTB, I remember from back home. Like I told you, my business mentor has started it, and because a lot of people knew him, they would automatically join just based on what he's doing, and then I definitely got to do it. It's almost like with Bitcoin. But Organo Gold, I learned of here. I know maybe 2 people that were doing it, and one lady, I remember I hadn't seen her in a while. I said, "Hey, what you up to?" And she says, "Well, me and my husband started our own coffee business." I said, "Y'all opened up a coffee shop? Where at?" I said, No, it's Organo Gold and blah 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 whatever. I'm gonna be honest with you, I got my own reservations about multi-level marketing companies. However, I will tell you that I tried Organo Gold one time. So a couple years after that, I was working at a company in Greenway, and one of the girls I used to talk to all the time, she had a little packet of the Organo Gold, and it actually tasted good.
Probably a latte. It was good.
I was surprised because usually it's hard to find something, especially in a pack or something that's going to. It actually tasted good.
I'm not a coffee drinker. I've drank probably 3 cups of coffee in my life, but we made some really, really good money with Organo Gold. The whole goal was to bring 1% of the coffee drinker to this brand, and if it tasted good and it was less than what Starbucks, we used to call them $4, was selling.
It's $5 now.
Hey, just try it out. And you needed only water, no sugar, cream, just stir it up.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
And it was good. No aftertaste.
I remember that. So when do you peak in network marketing?
Organo Gold was one of those just game changers for me. Just anybody that knows Holtz and Bugs, he's an icon in the industry. David Minitier went and did probably about 30 million. So I think I was maybe like the 6th person that he put in Organo Gold. So Organo Gold, that was the exposure and the peak. But then at that time is when I started getting into crypto. This is around, I started getting into trading around that time.
Okay.
So this is around like 2000, probably 13. I got into crypto around.
When you got into trading, what stocks were your first picks?
It was the big ones. These days we would call the Mag 7. It was the Google, the Amazon.
So you were too late for Yahoo.
Yeah.
Yahoo's already at 400 something at that point. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this was the Google, the Amazon, the Tesla. So I started getting into trading. After Organo Gold, I went into a company called TLC, Total Life Changes. So they did the detox tea. So that's when things really kind of took off for me around that time. And then I started getting into crypto around that time. So David Emanite, who was like my sponsor and a good friend of mine, we're one year apart. So I saw his life change. I saw his life go from zero to hero. I saw him go from not having a car to owning millions of dollars worth of cars, owning millions of dollars in real estate and millions of dollars in investments, on and on and on. So, so I got into crypto around that time after TLC. This is probably around maybe 2007. He went to a company called IML, which did trading. Okay. And so that company alone, see, that's one thing that people don't realize about direct sales and network marketing. A lot of these companies have taught people how to be self-employed, how to be entrepreneurs, how to not depend on somebody else to feed you. And I never forget just really seeing different people just peak and take off to another level in life. And for me, I just believed in crypto because I was like, I missed the dot-com boom because I graduated in 2000 from high school, Y2K. And I never forget when they said that the internet would crash, that the internet is a scam. You don't remember Y2K? They said
So I remember Y2K, right? All the computers were going to screw up because everything was based on a 2-digit year and not a 4-digit year. But I didn't know that they were saying that the actual internet would crash. But that's what you're talking about, the Y2K bug.
Yeah,
okay, I remember.
They said the internet would crash.
People thought that the life was going to come to an end.
That the internet was a scam.
Okay.
And so I'll never forget that. Then the .com boom, when you have the, all the different .com companies that came out, you could have bought a domain name and sold it.
Yep.
And so, kind of missed that. And I was like, I'm not going to miss anything else that could be life changing. When you think about back in the day, the Rockefellers, how things change on their end, when the Carnegies from steel, telecommunication.
And hold on. And I would like to point out that none of that was overnight.
No.
The stuff you're talking about was overnight. Like when Yahoo came out like at $4, $3 or $4 a share, right? And then when it boomed, it was literally like at 400. Before you even got there, though, you had people buying 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 shares. It was making millionaires overnight.
Yes and no. Think about this. When AOL came out, you probably got a free CD for dial-up, and everybody was using dial-up, and it took a minute or two to get online.
Well, it depends on what kind of computer you have. But
okay, I forgot. You're a computer guy. but the AOL, it was giving out the free, and so it was kind of one of those situations where I don't think it happened overnight. It was just a matter of, maybe 5-10 years. Where internet, because you had Yahoo, you had Hotmail, you had AOL, and that really just MSN. Those the four that I remember that kind of took off. But it just, I would say.
Wait, what was that other one? You had Juno, and there was one more. Those were the cheaper ones,
right? That
came out a little bit after.
Right. Yeah,
there was one more. Was it Net something? I'm not sure, but yeah, I remember that. But I guess I was talking about where you have the IPO. Where so you had the initial public offering of this company. So we just went public. Right.
But some of them, they had to go public after they got, enough users. Like,
that's true too.
So you just don't have an IPO. You kind of have to build that base first.
Yeah. And AOL was user friendly because when it opened up, it kind of opened up its own browser, and it had different boxes depending on what you wanted to do. And even though it made your browsing screen smaller, we didn't know any better because it was all new to us, right? But it was user friendly. Yeah. And it would save your password. So people would dial up doing that. Where the other ones, it just gets you connected to the internet. You got to open up back then Internet Explorer or whatever it was. And
nothing really ever took off overnight. Think about, like Skype. I remember getting the first computer and I had to download Skype. But then most computers started to come with Skype.
Well, that's because it's a Microsoft product.
Okay.
So they started building it into Windows.
Okay. Yeah. So that's before Zoom, and so now we say I'm going to get on a Zoom. Everybody knows that means a video conference call.
Yep.
But back in the day, it would be I'm going to get on Skype.
Yep.
Now you have Teams. Now you have
so
Google
Teams
Meet.
was built off the backbone of Skype.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of. Okay. Right. And then those who were still left over on Skype, little by little, transition over to Teams, and you'd had a lot of consulting firms like mine doing those implementations and those migrations, the data from one to the other. And Teams at this point is very robust. It's not just video conferencing, telephony, and so on and so forth. But I remember the days. But for some reason, Skype always looked more fun than Teams does now.
Probably because it had the little blue emblem logo, kind of like Twitter when Twitter came out.
Yep.
I remember when Twitter came out. Black Planet, Facebook, MySpace, Instagram, Vine.
Black Planet. No, so you had MySpace. Black Planet was the bomb, right? But MySpace, before Facebook, MySpace was the place where everybody was. And I remember you could put music on your page and everything like that. And
Drake was discovered from MySpace.
No, but I could imagine. I know. So you still have MySpace today, but I think now it's like a musician type thing. It's not the same as it used to be. But we talk about Facebook and how big it is today. But truly, it's MySpace was like, I don't know. I don't remember anybody being like wowed by Facebook because MySpace was the first space that we could do any of that. Become friends with each other, send messages.
Black Planet too. Black Planet. I spent hours on Black Planet. I met a couple girls off Black Planet.
Hey, I got in trouble on one of my IT jobs, my first IT job, because they said, what are you doing going to blackplanet.com? I said, well, that's like a social place. Whatever. I remember, I'll never forget this guy's name. He was a young system administrator named Joshua Cloud. This guy was as cornball. He's as pale as that wall. I told him it was me going to blackplanet.com, boom, boom. Next, he blocked it. I couldn't get to it. So I went back to him. When he blocked, I said, Josh, why did you block blackplanet.com? He looked at me and smiled and said, I'm doing my job. And I'm like, okay, dang. But I remember groups. There were pages and groups that they would put together. I remember they created one called Men Dogs. Some women got together and created something called Men Dogs. And any type of weird dating situation or some type of creep situation, they were reporting these guys on this page and putting all their business.
There's Facebook groups like that out right now. That's pretty big.
But again,
who's dating this guy?
Yes. No, there was something called the T or something like that I heard of recently. They were like, anyway, but the thing is, Facebook came and it became fun. And I'm not saying they didn't take it to a whole nother level. We weren't just like, wow, because we already had it in MySpace and Black Planet.
Yep. Definitely. So
High Five was another one. We were at lunch, and I think it was was it Thanksgiving or Christmas? We were at a lunch that they were paying for because it was a holiday, right? I remember Google offered them 3-point-something billion.
Turned it down.
They wouldn't sell. Yeah. A few years later, they were worth like 12 billion. Right. I think now it's even more.
Right.
And I was thinking I don't know, if I had put together something and early on Google offers me 3 billion. Listen, Corey, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm out.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll go start something else. This is not so much of my baby that I can't just, 3 billion. I wouldn't even know where to even begin looking for a yacht.
They got Yacht Week in Miami. You can go buy them.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so Snapchat.
Right. So when it came to stocks, I just knew that I didn't want to work the 40-40-40 plan, which my parents and grandparents and great-grandparents did.
So that was 40 hours a week?
Work 40 hours a week for 40 years and try to retire on 40% of the income that you could could not have afforded to live on.
So who did that ever work for?
Well, most baby boomers are retiring right now as millionaires.
Pensions or
401ks, pension, investing in stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Most people own homes. Baby boomers are those born between 1946 and 1964. Most of them are retiring 1 every 8 seconds for the next 10, 15 plus years, and they're retiring millionaires.
So I can tell you right now, my brothers and sisters who are baby boomers, they're not retiring millionaires.
Okay.
They're well off.
I get it. So the average person who went and worked for the post office or the railroad company.
Yep. Okay. So the baby boomers are retiring now.
That's millionaires. So if you went into the military, you work for the government, post office, teacher, UPS, the railroad, most of those, and when I say these are blue collar jobs that was available to them, most of them are retiring millionaires right now. Between their home, matching 401k, pension, stocks, mutual funds, bonds, it took them 40 years. But now, these days, I'm a millennial. My generation, for us, we know we are not going to be able to depend on Social Security. We know most jobs are not matching 401ks now. So our only options is to follow that same plan in which most of us have been living beyond our means. See, it was less distractions, as the baby boomers.
Yep.
They didn't grow up on the social media.
Not even close to it.
Right.
Corey, and listen, I really appreciate you giving us a little insight into you and this information on crypto. But for those that want to learn, what's your website? What's your Instagram handle? How can people get a hold of you?
So my website below, cryptocorey.co. My Instagram is at the Crypto Corey, CryptoCorey. And ladies and gentlemen, you can Google me and find me on all social media at the Crypto Corey on TikTok, the Crypto Corey on YouTube. And guys, this podcast, our wealth channel, we just want to show you how to acquire wealth. And whether that's through crypto, through credit, through precious metals, through real estate, through commodity, through information, through education. We want to give you the tools and the guidance and the practical information that you can execute. See, information is only one thing and execution is the other. And guys, I would love to help you, you and your family. I'm excited. I'm coming to schools. I'm teaching kids, and it's just life-changing information. Kids can spend all the time in the world playing a video game, but what if they can play a game and earn crypto. It's something called P2E, play to earn. And I teach people how to make money and kids how to make money all around the
Peep
world.
that game. Okay, so one last question. What next? I know you're putting a lot of material out on our Wealth channel. What's next for Crypto Corey?
Here on our Wealth channel, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a school and a Patreon group where you can get one-on-one mentorship, where we can have weekly calls where we can give you information as to how to monetize off of cryptocurrency or trading or credit or real estate or commodities, oil, gas, precious metals.
Hey, listen, I really appreciate that. And we got Corey Williams here coming out, sharing his crypto wisdom. You need to listen to this guy because he is making moves and he's learned the game from the inside out. Like I always said something, if you notice, I mentioned the mentor and I had multiple mentors in my lifetime. He's mentioned several mentors in different aspects of his life. These type of things is better. Anything is better when you learn it from someone who's already been there, done that, because you go in there with insight and the confidence, at least, to kind of execute some of this. And I do believe that cryptocurrency is the future in almost every sense. But I appreciate you coming out and sharing with us, and good luck in everything you do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.